Hello, welcome to Here We Go. In this introductory lesson, let's talk about the Ko rule. So what is a Ko, spelled K-O? That's the Japanese term for this pattern right here. What's interesting about this pattern is that as we learned, there's only one liberty left for this black stone right here. So white can go ahead and capture it. But once white does this, there is only one liberty left for this white stone. So black can also kind of capture white right back. But if I try that, this goes up first, Sabaki will not allow me to do that. Why? Because it will just repeat the previous board position, right? And if white and black do this forever, the game will get stuck, right? So it's easy to understand why this must be avoided in order for the game of Go to function, right? So if white captures first, then the rule is black must go somewhere else, right? And if white also goes somewhere else, now black can capture back. And now white cannot capture right back. So white has to go somewhere else. And if black goes somewhere else, then white can capture back. And now again, if black wants to capture back, it must go somewhere else first. And now if white wants to finish the Ko, it can just rescue this stone. So the Ko is over. There's no more Ko. So that is the pattern and that is the rule. But you might ask, what's the big deal, right? Is it just about capturing this one stone over and over again? It doesn't seem interesting, right? So, of course, this is just a basic pattern. In other patterns, for instance, the Ko carries a lot of significance, right? So in this pattern, what's going on is that here's a Ko, and these two groups are trying to kill each other, right? So right now, white only has one liberty left, and black has two liberties, and if white captures first, what happens is that black has only one liberty left, so white can capture this on this next move, and white has two more liberties, so it cannot be immediately captured. So if white captures first, then black cannot capture right back. Black has to play elsewhere. But of course, capturing all these black stones would be great. So white can just finish the Ko by capturing black, and the Ko is over, right? If somehow elsewhere there's a greater value, right, where black is threatening white to capture more white pieces elsewhere, then white has to answer. Then black can capture back, right? And now it's white's turn to make a Ko threat. What we call Ko threat is go somewhere else and threaten to gain more value than the Ko. And now, what if black thinks this lower right corner carries more value? Then it can just capture white like this, right? So you finish the Ko by capturing. Of course, be careful you're not finishing Ko by connecting back. Otherwise, white can capture you. So you finish the Ko by capturing white like this. So of course, white capturing black and black capturing white, that makes a huge difference in this lower right corner, as you see, right? So that's when Kos can make a huge difference in all these fights. It's the difference between life and death. And of course, the first point for beginners to keep in mind is that in every Ko fight, what's really important is who captures first, right? So if a lot are at stake here, if white captures first, then it's very likely that white can win this because black has to go elsewhere, and the value elsewhere is likely to be smaller than this fight right here, right? Again, if black somehow captures first and white has to go elsewhere, then black is more likely to win this fight. So who captures first? You have to calculate, or you have to set up the pattern to make sure that you capture first in the most important Ko fights. And so each Ko carries its own value, right? For another illustration, let's look at this, right? So here, what's at stake is 3 stones. If white allows black to capture, then black will capture these 3 stones, and there's no more Ko fight. But if white captures and black goes elsewhere and white captures again, then the ko is finished and the 3 black stones are captured, right? So that's what's at stake, right? So three stones. So now we let white capture, and for making ko threats, right? So black will move up and threaten to capture these 4 stones up here. And of course, 4 is larger than 3, so white will save these 4 by capturing black's 4 stones, right? And then now black, having had this exchange, can capture back, and now it's white's turn to find the ko threat. But on our board here, white doesn't have a very good one, so he threatens to capture these 2 stones, but 3 is greater than 2, so black will probably decide, right, to just capture these 3 stones by doing this. These 3 are also dead by finishing the ko, and then white can benefit by capturing these 2 stones, right? So that's how you do the exchange. If the ko threat is bigger than the ko, then you answer the ko threat. If the ko threat carries less value than the ko, then you finish the ko, right? So that's the basic idea behind kos. So to wrap up, let's review the rules. So this pattern is right here. You must avoid repetitive patterns on the board. So before capturing back, we have to go elsewhere. You have to make an exchange or a ko threat elsewhere. If your opponent answers, then you capture back. Then it's your opponent's turn to make that exchange elsewhere on the board. And of course, kos can win and lose games, and it's really important to consider who captures first and to consider the value of kos and ko threats. Thank you for watching.